Hey everybody, it is great to be back with you today. So I am at the plot by the house, plot 15A, and it is the very end of January, and I'm just coming down to do a little bit of very late winter harvesting before I get around to clearing some of these beds. I mean, I probably will actually just let them run on into February, just because I haven't actually sowed anything for this year yet anyway, and I've probably got a little bit more time, but just going to go and collect a couple of greens, and I'll show you what's happening with the little covered bed that I've got, where I've got a few salad crops too. Okay, let's go. I've not been up here for a couple of weeks, as the weather has been actually pretty awful. Really, really snowy and frosty. But as you can see, the pigeons have obviously started to get a bit hungry and are starting to eat the tops of the kale, where all the baby leaves are coming out. So I am going to put some netting back over these. I haven't really got tall enough hoops, so I'm going to have to figure out some other way to protect them, but there's still plenty of leaves on here for me to pick, so I'm going to do that now. And I don't know if you can tell, but they're all going up to sprout. So if you leave kale to flower, it sort of has these little florets, I guess, sort of like broccoli florets on the top, which are very lovely to eat, but have currently been munched by by the pigeons. So if I can get it covered, I could probably get a couple of florets out of it as well. But for today, I'm going to take some of these big leaves home, which hopefully will be quite a bit sweeter now that they've been out in the frost. Really surprisingly, this chard seems to have managed okay. It's not very big, but there are still a few good leaves to eat on it, so I'm going to pick a couple of these too. One of the things I do really love about gardening is that every so often I totally forget that I have planted something, and then you get to harvest it anyway. So I've actually got in the ground some mooly radish, which probably aren't very long, because I did put them in really late. I probably didn't put them into the end of September, and it was just kind of a throwaway, let's chuck something in and see what happens. But they've actually grown, so let's see if we can harvest some. Yeah, so this is the radish. I'm pretty sure that it's meant to grow considerably larger than this, but you can harvest them anytime during the winter. And I guess what's great about them is that they quite happily just store in the ground. So you don't need to worry about, storing them elsewhere. It has been really wet here though, so there is definitely a possibility that some critters may have eaten some. There's definitely some leaves that have been gotten by slugs, but there's also a possibility that some of the roots might have been eaten by woodlice as well. So, but that's okay, you know, we've got to try new things and we'll see. I actually do really like this radish raw in salads, but you can also cook it as well. But yeah, either's good. So yeah, let's see if we can actually get a harvest out of this. So I've pulled up a few and also left a couple in the ground. They're a bit varied in terms of size. So we've got like 2 relatively fat ones and 3 little skinnies. And interestingly, the fat ones were growing further into the bed than the really skinny ones. So I'm not sure why that would make a difference. They may have just been a bit too close together, to be honest. I'm not sure, but I guess we'll find out next time I grow them. So hopefully some of you will remember that back in September, I planted a sort of broadcast sown salad garden underneath some polythene even, like a little hoop garden that I could keep going over the winter with some salad crops in it. So I planted some winter purslane, lamb's lettuce, some green frills, mustard and some land cress. And it's been a bit of a mixed bag, I guess, in terms of how it's turned out. The winter purslane did not germinate at all. And I think that probably is that it probably just does better if grown sort of indoors in modules, started off there and then planted out into the bed. Probably would have worked out a lot better. The lamb's lettuce has come up great, but it was really slow. So it's slow to germinate, but it's also quite slow to grow. So I think if I'm going to do it again next time, what I'll probably do is again start it in modules, probably earlier than all the rest of the sowings as well, so that it's actually got a bit of time to establish in the bed before winter gets here and the light levels drop, and so obviously it grows slower because there's not really very much light. Now the mustard and the land cress did amazingly well. They both grew really quickly. They've been quite prolific. Downside to the green frills mustard, I think, is that one, I definitely needed to have thinned it because it actually doesn't cope very well with the lack of air circulation inside the tunnel when it's really close together, so it gets mushy and a bit grim. And the other thing is that actually we don't really enjoy it very much. It's okay, it's a mustard, it's quite peppery, but yeah, I'm just not a huge fan of its flavour. If I was going to grow it again, I'd just grow considerably less of it because, like, in a salad mix, I just don't like it that much. I guess the other side of that is, had the winter purslane germinated and been able to grow that as well, like when I'm picking salads, it probably would have worked out better and had a better balance, and so wouldn't be such a big deal. Now the land cress has been great. Really enjoyed it. It's super easy to grow, it's very prolific. We've had loads of it and we really enjoy it, and it's good. What's actually really good about it is that I found that I can use it in cooked things as well, like as wilted, along with like other wilted greens, so that's actually been really beneficial. So yeah, let's go have a look at that bed. Okay, so this is what the bed looks like underneath the polythene. This is the lamb's lettuce. As you can see, it's got those gorgeous little florets. It's really green. But you can see that obviously I broadcasted the seeds when I sowed it, and so I've ended up with, like, over here some little clumps rather than individual rather larger plants. I've got some over there that are a bit bigger, and it is just because they're out on their own. So what I've been doing when I have been harvesting is, instead of taking individual leaves from plants, I've actually been taking the whole plants out to give the other ones a bit more space so that they could grow a little bit bigger. Now this is what's happened to the green frills mustard. As you can see, it's just too damp, basically. It's got really, really damp. It's really just, it's just struggled, to be honest. Got a few weeds in here as well to go with them. But yeah, it struggled with the lack of airflow. And there have been times where I've left the ends of this open, but it really hasn't been enough with them being in the middle, and they were just really too close together. Now, I've just kind of let them, you know, die, because actually I don't really enjoy eating them very much, so I wasn't really too concerned. There are some onions here as well. They are looking a little worse for wear. I wasn't really expecting them to come up until, I guess, you know, a bit later on in the spring, but they have also had things nibbling on them in here as well. I guess is that one of the downsides of having something that's covered is that if you trap a little critter in here, well, they're just trapped in, basically. So then, you know, they just have a feast and keep going with that. Okay, so over here, this is the land cress. It is quite peppery, like watercress, really. Really lovely in a salad. It's really easy to grow, and to be honest, I've just been able to like cut whole swathes of it, and it just keeps coming back. So definitely been a winner, and I'm very, very happy about it. So yeah, I'm going to harvest some of this and get myself a salad ready to go. So that's all from me today. I hope you enjoyed the quick trip around the plot, doing a little bit of harvesting right at the end of January. And I hope whatever you're doing today that you are having a really great time. So take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.